We're chatting with CBS's Rich Gannon, who will be in the booth this Sunday for the Chargers and Broncos game. Rich, thanks for taking some time to chat with us here. I wanted to start out by saying, when you're getting ready for this game, what have you seen from Drew Lock on tape this season?
Well, I think when you evaluate the quarterback, Phil, you have to look at the whole picture. And I think if you just focus on the last couple of weeks, I think you do yourself an injustice. I think, when you look at last year, he had the injury. He missed a lot of practice time. You look at the offseason, there was virtually no offseason program to speak of. He had a new coordinator, didn't have the benefit of preseason games. We were there with you guys in Pittsburgh week 2 when he got hurt, and then he's on the shelf for a couple of weeks, and then, you throw him back out there. And so that, to me, is hard to really say who he is just yet. We haven't seen a full season of his work. I think there's a lot of qualities and characteristics that you like when you study him, but there are some things he needs to get cleaned up. I think if you go back and really look at him at Missouri, he was in the gun a lot. They never called plays in the huddle. He had a very, let's be kind and say average offensive line in front of him. And so he was constantly getting pushed up inside in his face, and he was constantly running around and making plays. And I think he has a tendency, when he gets a little rush and a little push, to immediately think about what he's done, which just comes natural to him, which is escape and make a play, as opposed to trust the protection, take the extra hitch, sit in there, and get through the progressions, rather than just look at number one and take off. And I think that's an area where, as you talk with him, you talk with some of the coaches, it's an area where he has to continue to improve. I think we have a saying, it's complete or incomplete based on your feet. And I think when his feet are good and he's got a good base and he's in rhythm, he's very accurate. When he's not and he's drifting and he feels the rush, that's where he can miss some throws. You look at the interception last week from Sorensen, the pick 6. You bring a blitz, it's unblocked. He's not able to set his feet. He throws kind of fading away, doesn't use the boundary enough. He gets picked, and that's what happens. So I think right now he's probably feeling some pressure. He's thrown 4 interceptions and no touchdowns in the last 2 games. Obviously, you guys have played some really good competition. I think this is a week that will be significant for him and for the football team, in hopes that they can get things turned around.
As a young quarterback, how do you learn to get comfortable in the pocket?
It's a great question. It's so easy to say, I'm going to sit in there, I'm going to trust the protection, I'm going to sit in with a tough jaw, and all of a sudden you keep getting hit in the face. It's easy for me to sit there, hey, trust the protection. So but I think a lot of it has to do with understanding the protection, where you're vulnerable, what the issues are, who's blocked, who's unaccounted for, where my quick answer throws are. I think a lot of that just comes with maturation, comes with experience. And I think that's a work in progress. The challenge that he had, and this is never a good thing, is when you go from learning a system, learning all the terminology in year 1, and then in year 2, we take the playbook and we take all the terminology and verbiage and we just toss it right out the window, and we hand you something different. And that's a challenge, for a young quarterback. And I think you're seeing some of that, plus the time that he's missed, the practice time that he's missed, dealing with the rotator cuff injury. So I think the important thing for this weekend, for me anyway, if I was coaching, I want to get him off to a good start. I want to get him some confidence. I want to get some high completion percentage throws. I want him to feel good under center. I want the ball to come out quick. I want to make sure that Ingram and Boza are not a factor early. Let's make sure we address those guys. Let's make sure we handle them with the protection. Let's make sure the backs chip. Let's make sure that we start this game the right way with our young quarterback.
What do you think about these young quarterbacks in the league nowadays? It always seems like there's so much pressure to win right away. Whereas, for a quarterback like yourself, it took a few years to, learn about being in the league. Does it seem like to you that teams don't give their quarterbacks a chance to develop like that?
I think you're right, Phil. I think we lack patience when it comes to that position. We draft them a lot of times before they're ready. We put them into a situation that it's not just whether the young quarterback's ready, is the team ready for a young quarterback? And that's part of the issue too. If we don't have it, the Broncos are probably the youngest offense in football. So young at quarterback and at running back and at tight end and a wide receiver. And so it's not just the quarterback that's making the mistakes, it's the guys around him. And it takes all 11 to make it work. So But yeah, I think we have a tendency to give up on people way too soon. We're about what have you done for me lately type of thing. I mean, the guy that's coming in, Justin Herbert, he's the AFC Rookie of the Month, and he's played really well, and yet he's won one game. So I mean, we can say he throws for 300 yards every week, but he's only won once, and I think 5 tries. So it's a process, and I think you got to be patient. I think Drew Lock has a chance to be a pretty solid player in this league, but he's got to continue to trend in the right direction, and he's got to start taking better care of the football.
You mentioned Herbert there. What have you seen from that young quarterback? It seems like he's lighting the league on fire so far.
I think what really jumps out to you right away is the arm talent. I mean, this guy's got a very strong arm. You'll see play action on 1st and 10. He can throw the ball 75 yards and make it look easy. There's not an area of the field that's a weakness for him when it comes to throwing the football. He's got pretty good touch on the ball. At times he can overthrow it, and some of the crossing routes to the backs and receivers. He's got very good mobility for a quarterback that's 6'6", 237 pounds. I mean, the guy can run. And when he runs, he's not looking to slide or get out of bounds. I can promise you that. So he's got some real toughness to him. He's got great poise and composure. You can tell the situation is not too big for him. He was a 3-time academic All-American at Oregon. He's a smart guy. His brother is a first-year medical student at the University of Columbia, or Columbia University Medical School. So he's a bright guy. He's a biology major. You can tell that very cerebral, can pick things up quickly, doesn't repeat mistakes. I think he's got a really bright future.
Last one for you, Rich. Here, just what do you think about this matchup heading in? Both teams sitting at 2-4 right now.
Yeah, I think getting off to a good start is going to be really important for whichever team. I think both teams need to have some success early, especially the Broncos. I think the Chargers come in with a little bit more momentum right now, coming off of the win last week, coming off of the fact that the quarterback has been a big story. He's been a big bright spot for them. They get Melvin Ingram back last week. He was a factor in that game. And so I think the Broncos have to be able to run the football, to have some balance. The quarterback needs to get off to a good start, and the protection, if you don't handle 54 and 97, it's going to be a long day for the Broncos. That's the key. I mean, they've got two edge rushers that can be very disruptive. And the other thing is you can't let the quarterback out of the pocket. This kid is very dangerous, Herbert, when he gets outside the pocket. Those, to me, if you're just looking for the keys, you better block the edge versus the Chargers, and you better keep the quarterback in the pocket where he belongs.
All right. Well, we're looking forward to it on Sunday. Rich, thanks for spending some time with us.
Bill, it's always a pleasure to be with you, brother. Thanks.